What's up everybody, Nate here from Out of the Basement bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today we are looking at the Amazon exclusive Emperor Palpatine and Throne. This is of course from Star Wars The Black Series. This figure is supposed to come out in October, but I have seen people online getting it early, and somehow I ended up also being one of those people where it shipped out a little bit ahead of the official release date. So really happy to have this in hand. We're going to be taking a look at the details of this figure, all the accessories. We're also going to be comparing him to the original release of the Emperor all the way back from the blue line. So you're going to want to stay tuned. So let's take a look at the box right off the bat. You'll notice it is a little bit thicker than a normal Black Series box. This is the closest one I have on hand, but there you go. This is obviously the Han Solo box, 62 right there, and you can see how beefy this one really is. Of course, he does come with a higher price point, going for $40, so we will also be taking into account the price of this guy when we are considering, is he going to be worth it? Is this a worthy upgrade? But spoiler alert, of course it is. So let's not waste any more time here. We'll take a look at the box. You see it's got the exclusive no number. There is the bio. If you'd like to read it, go ahead and pause it right there. It is mostly just the standard Black Series box that we've been getting for a long time. It's just a little thicker. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna pop this guy open. We'll take a look at all the accessories, and then we'll take a look at Emperor Palpatine himself. So let's do it. Okay, so for accessories, Emperor Palpatine does come with his standard cane right here, which is just some black molded plastic with some pretty nice details on it. It does look good. The sculpted details are nice. I'm going to be curious to see if this one actually touches the ground, unlike the original release, but we'll get to that when we get there. He also comes with two alternate hands, which are these Force Lightning Effect hands, which look pretty cool. The blue is a little lackluster in my opinion. It's, I don't know, I feel like there's not a lot of variety in the paint here, and it just kind of looks very like Kool-Aid-y to me. I don't know, this doesn't really exactly scream Force Lightning to me, but it is a really cool effect, and it is appreciated that it comes with Palpatine, and it's just more posing options. And as you can see here, the lightning effects are attached to the hands, and these hands are really soft, really soft, pliable plastic. It was honestly kind of hard to plug them all the way into the peg, just because they're so soft. It just wants to like crumble when you're trying to plug those in, but still looks pretty good. Like I said, it's kind of muddy, especially around here. It looks like his fingers are like really long, just because the fade from the hand to the lightning effect is not great, but I mean, it's fine. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on this figure, since everyone thinks I hate on all the Black Series figures, but with this being a $40 figure, $20 extra, we gotta consider these things a little bit more heavily than we would just reviewing a standard Black Series figure. So there you go. They look alright. I feel like they could look better, but I always appreciate some bonus effects like this, especially because we usually don't get a lot of this in the Black Series, like effect pieces. And then he also comes with two alternate heads. He has the grinning head right here, which looks really good. I want to say the face, yeah, there's definitely some face printing on here, but you can see just there's so much paint, there's so much detail on this head, and it's on all three heads. You've got these nice blue accents that just pop right there, and under harsh lighting it kind of looks weird, but in a normal setting it really adds to the sort of wrinkly, disgusting look of the Emperor, especially in Return of the Jedi, which is what this figure is based on. So that is the grinning head right there. Really nice sculpted details, and I think it really does look like the Emperor. He also comes with a Force Lightning head. It's kind of the face he makes whenever he casts his Force Lightning, so it's just more of an angry Palpatine face, and that just looks so good. Look at the teeth detail in there, and you can see the face printing technology on his eyes, and that just looks so good. Again, the sculpted details, all the paint around on these head sculpts are really nice. Really nice. I'm glad that they actually took the time to paint these really well and loaded them up with detail. Really appreciate that. And then finally we've got his throne right here, which is obviously the big draw, I think, of this figure set. Because we had the Emperor before, but obviously most of the time, especially in the original trilogy, he's just sitting down. So when we got the Emperor in the blue line all those years ago, it was kind of like, okay, are we going to get the chair at some point? What's going on? But finally, after all these years, we got the chair, and mine has a nice paint scuff on the back, so that is dope. The chair actually does rotate, so that is nice. It's got a little rotatey base down here. Really cool. Really like the purple on the seat cushions, and the sculpted detail as well looks really nice. It even goes so far as to include stuff like these little buttons on the side here, which are all painted really nicely. They look super clean. Not a whole lot of bleeding or anything going on with those tiny buttons there. So I really like that detail. Although obviously the rest of it, which is accurate to the movie, is just the normal sort of black plastic chair. And actually it looks like these come out. It kind of looks like I'm missing a piece right here. I just looked all over for it and I don't see it anywhere, but I would assume that this sort of style of piece is also supposed to be right there. Not 100%, but it looks like something does peg in there. And I don't have anything else around me, so looks like I might have gotten a slight factory error on this one, but that's really not that big of a deal. I'm not really even going to notice. I didn't notice until I was just straight up staring at it into the camera. But so that is the chair. Really nice looking, really nice details on it. Although it is, of course, pretty basic in terms of it's just the seat. So let's go ahead and take a look at Emperor Palpatine himself. Alright, so here is the Emperor out of the packaging, and he is looking awesome. Such an improvement over the original release, which we will get into. I will be going a little bit in depth, showing the differences between the two. But just right off the bat, you could tell already it looks so much better. And I'm so happy that Hasbro decided to give us a little bit of an update to this figure all these years later, because it definitely needed one. The Emperor is a very important character and definitely deserves to have a really great figure, which I think is what we have on our hands here. So let's take a close look at the details. Of course, right off the bat, you'll notice he has plenty of cloth goods. He's mostly cloth goods. He does have some plastic details, like underneath his robe right here. You can see his top half, and this sash right here is actually made of plastic. This is a nice soft plastic, but for the most part, the bottom robe here, or like, you know, the part that covers his legs, I don't know robe terminology, and the outside robe are cloth good. And it does look pretty nice. It obviously gets a little ugly when you look at it from the side or something like that, but from the front you can definitely work with it, and you can get the hood to lay very nicely, especially when you're going to have him sitting in the chair, if that's how you are going to display him. And I just realized something. He still doesn't include a lightsaber. Kind of weird at this point that they just, you know, Hasbro could have at least thrown us a bone here and just included the lightsaber. We could have had a real definitive Emperor. I know this is branded as Return of the Jedi, but just throw us a bone with the lightsaber there. So yeah, all this nice soft goods look really nice and they flow well. There is some fraying down here already. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or not, but on the edge of mine, there you go. You can kind of see it. If I lift this up, you can see that it's already frayed at the bottom there. So that is usually not a good sign. Definitely could have some wear and tear on this guy very easily in the future if you are not careful. So let's take a close look here. This is the other face as well. This is the more neutral expression, but again features the same amount of sculpted detail that the other heads do. Although on the other heads you can see that line down his forehead is a little bit more pronounced than it is on this standard head here. I want to say This standard head here is just a mildly updated version of the original sculpt, maybe painted a little bit better, but these other two head sculpts are definitely a little bit more loved on. There you go, you can see them all right there. So yeah, I think this is the one on his head that he comes with on in the box. It's just a better painted version of the original head sculpt, which, I mean, it looks leaps and bounds better, so not going to complain there. The undersuit is mostly just black sculpted plastic, not really a whole lot going on, and you can see his hands also have a lot of really nice paint detail on them. Look really gross, actually. I dig that a lot. Definitely helps add to the value of the figure that there's actually paint in places where it needs to be. So the fingers and the hands, I think, look pretty good. They look old and crusty and disgusting, just like the Emperor himself. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty basic figure. It's just some soft goods underneath a pretty typical body, and he really only has details on his hands and head sculpt and the neck right there, which the neck also does look really nice. So I guess let's go ahead and we'll talk some articulation here. His head can look up a little bit, not too much, but can look down very far. He, of course, does have a little bit of side to side as well. Not too much, but, and of course you can have rotation at the head. Shoulders move out just nicely. No butterfly joints on this guy, but he does have double jointed elbows, so you can really get that nice posing out of him, especially if you wanted to have him in like a lightsaber battle with Yoda or maybe Darth Vader, something like that. You can get it done if you just have a spare lightsaber, but you can see double jointed elbow works perfectly, and that is awesome. Fantastic double elbow there. The hands are also on a swivel, and they do have a peg that is a vertical peg like that. So that is kind of nice. Same thing with this hand, also the vertical peg. A little bit stiffer on this side. So pretty much the same right there. Of course, the robe is also removable. I'm not going to take mine off, though, because it is a real pain to try and get this little clasp piece back in there to get it to connect. But it does come off, so if you wanted to take it off and do whatever you want with it, you totally can. He does, of course, have swivel at the hips, and he does have some crunch to him as well, that you can make him go back really far, and he can go forward pretty far. The legs do kick out, but they are pretty much inhibited by the robe, and you can see the fraying there down at the bottom. Not looking great, so probably don't want to stress out the cloth too much, and of course it gets a little tangled up there as well with the rotation at the waist and everything like that. This actually looks to be a separate piece, this sash right here, but this, of course, will rotate around on you, so you got to just be careful when you're messing around with that. And here you go. Here we go. All right, we'll just pull the robe up a little bit. You can see the legs do kick out very far. He does have thigh swivel. He does have double jointed knees as well that work really great. No complaints there on the double knee. And it's always going to be hidden too. And of course his feet can go down really far, can go up a decent amount, and he does have really sweet ankle pivot, so that is nice. Really nice articulation here, and there's so much of this cloth stuff coming off. It's getting all over my review station. So that is the Emperor. So we're gonna go ahead and do a little comparison here just to show you how big of an upgrade this figure pretty much is. So boom, here is blue line right here, blue line, and here is the new Emperor figure, and you can see, Jesus, that is a night and day transformation right there. You can see there's no paint apps on the hands, there's very little paint apps on the head for the blue line figure. It's not a bad okay, maybe by today's standards this could be considered a bad figure, but at the time this was honestly pretty good, and it was the only Emperor we had, so it's really not like there was much of a choice to begin with. But now, I mean, just look at these heads. So different, so much more accurate and better looking on the Amazon exclusive. And of course the biggest factor was that the bottom of this Emperor figure was hard plastic, so he could not sit well. So if you got a custom throne, or maybe you were having him sit on Snoke's throne or something like that, it just wouldn't work with how this figure was designed. I don't know who thought having this hard plastic bottom would be a good idea, but obviously they realized their mistake when they made this all cloth. And of course you can just tell that they also did a little bit of redesigning on the hood. It looks much more natural on the Amazon one than the Blue Line. The Blue Line has these big flaps on the hood to get it to sit well on the Emperor's head, which is effective, but now that we've come so far with like smaller scale cloth goods, I think that it is really a massive improvement. And you also get the more iconic, it's hard to tell, but because they're folded up and they don't really want to fold down, but he does have the long droopy bits of soft good on the arms like the Emperor normally has, whereas the original release just kind of had normal circular armholes on the robe. But I will say though, the cane still doesn't touch the ground. How's the Emperor supposed to walk when the cane doesn't touch the ground? I don't know why. That's always just kind of minorly bugged me, that the cane doesn't touch the ground, and it still doesn't touch the ground. But I guess you could hunch him over if you really wanted to and sort of fudge it, but standing straight up, the cane does not work. But I guess he is kind of hunched in the movie, so I don't really know what I'm saying right here. And of course, in the package, he comes already sitting down, and it's very easy to just put him in the chair, fold his legs up real nice, make him down just like that, and you have the Emperor sitting in his throne. Looks so dope. Love the way this looks. Hell yes. This is definitely a very definitive Emperor right here, except for my paint splotch on the back there. But man, he just sits in that chair so well. It looks so good. So happy we finally got the throne and the Emperor, just to really put the nail in the coffin on this figure. So I guess now let's compare him to some other figures from the line. We're going to compare him to some other figures in general all across the board of action figures. So here we go. Here he is next to the 40th anniversary Darth Vader and the Walgreens exclusive Emperor's Wrath Darth Vader, which, hey, we can finally do something with this figure now that we have an Emperor with Force lightning effects. So that's cool. Here he is next to the Archive Wave Yoda and a Royal Guard. And then here he is next to the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Magna Defender and the Black Series Mace Windu. And then finally we have him next to the Mezco 112th Michael Myers and the NECA Ultimate Roy Burns Jason. Okay, so my final thoughts on the figure itself is that it is pretty damn good. A pretty massive upgrade from the original Blue Line Emperor, also including the throne, was a fantastic idea. Is it truly worth the $40? I'm gonna honestly leave that one up to you. I personally obviously had no problem spending the little bit extra to get the throne and just the updated look of the Emperor, along with the alternate heads, which is something you don't really see in the Black Series a lot. So you do have a pretty good amount of variety for the Black Series. The articulation is really nice, and he has wonderful details on him. And I look forward to centering him in my Black Series collection and having a nice little diorama of the Emperor and sort of a throne room kind of setup. So yeah, overall, I'm going to say this figure is awesome. Definitely pick it up if you can. I know right now it's listed as temporarily out of stock on Amazon, but you should be able to still at least pre-order it, and then they will ship it to you eventually. Of course, now I turn the question to you guys. What do you think of this figure? Are you going to pick it up? Are you fine with your Blue Line Emperor? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, if you enjoyed the review in general, don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new. We're always talking action figures, movies, Blu-rays, all that good stuff. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely stick around, smash subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. And thank you so much for everyone who has been tuning in lately and watching our videos. We really appreciate it. After the Emperor review, I will have my Magna Defender review coming out, which is very late. I feel like I'm the last person on planet Earth to get the Power Rangers stuff, always. But I really like it, so of course I'm just going to keep doing my own thing here. So yeah, let's talk Star Wars in the comments down below. I'm Nate, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time on Out of the Basement.